Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that whatever you're up to today, Sunday the 12th of March, that you're having a nice and pleasant one. By way of introduction, we continue in a look at transitive verbs. I have earlier in the workshop, which started in January, looked at what transitive and intransitive verbs were. If you've only joined the page, we'll scroll down on our feed so you can view our earlier videos or read articles that will help explain what I'm talking about. To recap, I did say there are two types of verbs in English, ones that stand alone, intransitive verbs, and ones that depend on other words to continue their meaning. We call them transitive verbs. Transitive means the action transpires from one word to the next. So they transmit the action to another word, which we call an object. If you are familiar with the parts of a sentence, which I explained earlier in a workshop, a sentence might have a subject or predicate, and we broke that down to what's a subject where, which are mostly nouns or pronouns. And then we looked at what objects were, which are mostly prepositions or adverbs. And we looked at how verbs connected subjects and objects. Please have a look at the example on the page. Okay, so that's what a basic sentence looks like. So what are transitive verbs? A transitive verb would be a verb that makes no sense on its own. It requires an object to continue its meaning. A verb is an action word. A verb would tell you what's happening now, what usually happens, what happened in the past, or what will happen. So verbs are action words. They tell you what's occurring. There are a lot of verbs in English grammar that do not stand on their own. They do not make any sense on their own. And I've explained that speakers of other beautiful languages that acquire English as a second or foreign language might have to learn transitive verbs. There's a list on my page that takes you to another website where these verbs are listed. There's a link on my page that takes you to this website where these verbs are listed. I like to start off by giving an example of a transitive verb. My example would be the word deceive. Deceive is a verb. The infinitive form is to deceive or deceive. So, how am I going to use this in a sentence? Deceived often takes the preposition by, by. Sometimes people get prepositions mixed up because they don't know which preposition follows a transitive verb. Again, as you perfect your use of English, as you use transitive verbs in your material, you might get familiar with which words belong together. That is going into the area of semantics, which I don't want to look at this morning. We'll move to semantics later on in the workshop, but for now I'm just going to say deceive likes the preposition by, or it likes the adverbial phrases that start with the word by. My example would be Mariette was deceived by Joseph's good looks. Mariette was deceived by Joseph's good looks. My other example would be the word acknowledge. Please acknowledge my email. Please acknowledge my email. Very often transitive verbs would take a word which might be a preposition or a noun, a phrase, or a pronoun. Often, transitive verbs might also take an adverbial phrase or an adjectival phrase or another verb that helps enhance or continue its meaning. Another example would be the word aggravate. President Bio's speech aggravated the youth's anger. President Bio's speech aggravated the youth's anger. The youth there, the article the, and the word youth is a noun, are the object. So the object is now a noun. Some transitive verbs would also use nouns as an object. I'm trying to give different examples of objects. Let's use the word embarrass. The verb to embarrass. Peter was embarrassed by Marietta's affections. Peter was embarrassed by Marietta's affections. How about the word fascinate? Another transitive verb is the verb forget. The thief forgot to take his tools. The thief forgot to take his tools. Forgot to. Excuse me while I have another sip of water. So we're looking at transitive verbs. I'm going to contrast them with intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs are words which can stand alone. They do not require an object to continue to carry their meaning or transmit the meaning of the word correctly. So it makes sense semantically. I'm instead looking today at transitive verbs which require the use of another word or group of words so that we can use them correctly. This is veering into the area of semantics in English, where you might think as a writer or as a speaker of another language, you might think, well, I've used the word appreciate. I don't need to say anything after that. I appreciate, because probably you had it in a film. But actually, the correct use is I appreciate plus an object. I appreciate your generosity. I appreciate your generosity. Generosity is an abstract noun, isn't it? Your is a personal pronoun, isn't it? I appreciate your generosity. Please have a look at the examples on the page. Can I join the Zoom? Asked the poet. Can I join the Zoom? Asked the poet. Join is a transitive verb. The Zoom. Zoom is a noun, isn't it? Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a book by its cover. Judge is a transitive verb. I'm quite hoarse today, aren't I? Ali Mami reassured his girlfriend his mother was asleep. Ali Mami reassured his girlfriend his mother was asleep. Reassured plus pronoun. Reassured his girlfriend. His is a personal pronoun. Please refill the orange water bottle by the door. Please refill the orange water bottle by the door. The orange water bottle by the door is a phrase. It's an adjectival phrase. The orange water bottle describes the bottle's colour, and it tells you specifically the bottle that I'm talking about. Transitive verb plus phrase. Please remind Philip that the meeting is today at 5 p.m. Please remind Philip the meeting is today at 5 p.m. Nominal phrase. Transitive verb plus nominal phrase. I want to spread my wings and fly away. I want to spread my wings and fly away. There are a lot of transitive verbs in English, and I've just tried to introduce them today so that you know that they work with an object. For more information, please click on the link on the video. There are about 125 examples on the list, and I want to thank you to a gentleman called Manuel Campos for compiling this list. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever you got up to today, do have a nice and pleasant one.